Hey guys, how's it going? How's everyone today? Can you guys hear me? So, yeah, sorry guys, I started a little bit late here. Let me see. There. Yeah, I got a haircut. Thanks. Thanks for noticing that. Hey, Victoria. Hey, Lauren. Hey, Maribel. How was everyone's weekend? Hey, Gerald's 2 cents. Hey, Molly. How's it going? So I'm about to get started here. I'm just going to kind of I want to play the porch video and talk about that. And then if it ends up going longer than I think it will, then I won't play the audio of the February 2019 interview. I don't know that I've ever actually listened to the whole thing. I've read it. But these notes are basic information. They don't capture everything, I think. I don't think there's a stenographer going through these. Hey, 3 cents, how's it going? Hey, Laurel. Thanks for coming to hang out tonight. So it's been a very short weekend for me. It seems like every Friday I'm like, yay, it's the weekend. And then I never have enough time to do what I need to do. And then, I have to think about waking up early tomorrow. I see it looks like a couple of you are got to wake up at 5 in the morning. I don't have to wake up that early, but I do get up at 6. It's kind of early still. Hey, Olga, how's it going? I don't think I say earth shattering that much. Gerald 2 cents says, let's play bingo for every time he says earth shattering. Or are we talking about Chris Watts? Chris Watts says that, right? Maybe. 4:45. Yeah, that sucks. You probably go to bed early, leave early, and then you're probably going to sleep in like the afternoon because I would if I had to get up that early. Yeah, I think Chris Watts does say that. I never really noticed it until just now. So I guess we should play bingo every time he says it. Hey, Yoga, I try to do a stream every Sunday. Like anything extra is kind of a bonus. And um, I don't know. I was planning on doing a different stream. I was thinking it'd be fun to talk about um, like missing people and, what you should do if somebody goes missing. How do you know if it's something that you need to worry about versus, you know, they're just out of town or whatever. I think it's something that everyone should know, just in case. I mean, God forbid something like that actually happens to someone we know, but um, I kind of want to research why people aren't found, and see what I can come up with. So, like for example, you call the police, hey, my sister is missing, my daughter's missing. Um, what kind of mistakes do the cops make? I would like to figure something like that out. I think it might be an interesting live stream. but it takes quite a bit more work because I don't know anything about it yet. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like when you think about Shanann Watts, she wasn't missing very long before her friend reached out. And I'd like to think that I'm that type of friend too, but I don't know that I would be. It's a tough call. Like, hey, Cowboy RC, how are you today? You know, it's getting dark at like 11 o'clock here in Alaska now. Next month, by the end of next month, it'll be midnight or 12:30, I think, before sunset, and then, it's actually gets dark around 2 in the morning, I think. If you go further north, it's like 24 hours of daylight, and if you like to sleep, you don't it's not very easy in the summertime here. In the wintertime, it's hard to stay awake because it's always dark. You know, you wake up at, you know, 6 o'clock, you go outside, it's pitch black. You leave work at 4:30 and you walk outside and it's pitch black. It's kinda crazy. Takes a little while to get used to it. So, guys, I did turn back on the Nightbot because I always forget to mention things like, click that little reaction button there, as much as you can to let YouTube know that you guys are enjoying what we're talking about. Um, I think if there's enough clicks, it'll show it to other people, so maybe we can get some new people here too. Um, Cold and dark is not something that most people dream about, but I do look forward to the winters because by the end of the summer, I haven't slept enough and I'm ready to hibernate. You know, this is this is a valid, I think your pet is a part of your family. You care about them deeply. They're a living thing, and I don't think it's, you know, I don't know. If I had a pet, I would be devastated too if it went missing because you think the worst and then, they don't come back and you hope that they're, in somebody's house being taken care of, but, you know, something bad could have happened. Um, I've never seen it happen here, but I've heard about eagles snatching up pets in here in Alaska. I know this guy who breeds Dachshunds, and he's got what is it, the Basset Hound or something like that to chase off the eagles. You know, I don't know if he was joking or what, but maybe. All right, guys. Well, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Um, I'll just go ahead and play through some of this porch footage here. This is like the one thing that I hate the most. Like when I see this, it actually makes me angry watching it, knowing what he did, knowing that he confesses, a couple days later, you know,
Chris Watts, WATTS.
Wow. What's going on right now around your house?
Right now, it's you got K9 units, the sheriff's department. Everybody's like they're doing their best right now to figure out like if they can get a scent, and see where they went. If they went on foot, they went in a car, or they went somewhere. And right now, it's just like they've been on point. They're going through the house trying to get a scent, and hopefully they can pick something up to where it's going to lead to something.
What happened? Your wife came home. Tell me what's.
She came home from the airport 2 a.m. and I left around 5:15. She was still here, and like about 12:10 in that afternoon, her friend Nicole showed up at the door. Like I had texted Shanann a few times that day, called her, say but she never got back to me. But she wasn't getting back to any of her people as well, and that's what really concerned a lot of people. Is like, if she's not getting back to her, like if she doesn't get back to me, that's fine. Like she gets busy during the day, but she didn't get back to her people, which was very concerning. And Nicole called me when she was at the door, and that's when I came home. And then walked in the house, and nothing was vanished. Nothing was here. I mean, she wasn't here. The kids weren't here. Nope, nobody was here.
What's your wife's name?
Shanann, Shanann.
What's your kids' name?
Bella and Celeste.
How do you spell it? Celeste.
Celeste.
How old are your daughters?
4. Bella's 4. Celeste is 3.
And so,
You know, I've seen this, you know, that where he's licking his lips there. I've heard many behavioralists say that that's like a thing. That's a sign that, you know, whatever he did, he enjoyed it. I don't know if that's true, but he also doesn't mention his family's names very much. He was just asked directly, you know, what his wife's name was, and it, you know, he didn't say it right away. Like he had to think about it. It was weird.
how many times did you try calling her?
I called her 3 times, texted her about 3 times just to say, you know, what's going on. Like because after I called her and texted her once, it's like maybe she was just busy. Like she had just gotten back, you know, like everybody's probably calling her from her trip. She just got back from Arizona, and I figured she was just busy. But when her friend showed up, that's what it was like. It registered like, all right, this isn't right.
Do you think she just
I think the eye contact he's making right now is a little bit weird. Have you guys saw that?
took off? Do you think?
I mean, right now I don't even want to just like throw anything out there. Like, I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids. But I mean, could she just taken off? I don't know. But if somebody has her and they're not safe, like I want them back now. Like that's what's in my head. Like if they're safe right now, they're gonna come back. But if they're not safe right now, that's the not knowing part. Like if they're not safe, last night I had every light in the house on. I was hoping that I would just ran over by the kids running in the door and just like barrel rushing me, but it didn't happen. And it was just a traumatic night trying to be here.
I'm gonna ask some kind of tough questions. Your relationship with your kids.
Yeah, my kids are my life. I mean, those smiles light up my life. And there's like, I mean, last night, like during you know, when they usually eat dinner, it was just like I missed them. Like, I mean, I missed telling them, hey, you got to eat that, or you're not gonna get your dessert. You know, and just like you're not gonna get your snack after. I missed that. Like I missed them. You know, cuddle up on their couches. They have like a Minnie Mouse couch and a Sophia couch that they cuddle up on and watch, you know, Bubble Guppies or something. And it was just like, you know, it was tearing me apart last night, and I needed that. I needed that last night, and for nobody to be here last night and to go into their rooms and know that I wasn't going to turn the rain machines on, and I know that I wasn't going to turn their monitor on, and know I wasn't going to kiss them to bed tonight. It was that's why last night was just horrible. I couldn't do it. I want everybody to just come home. Like wherever they're at, come home. That's what I want.
Where was she gone for? She was on. She came back Sunday. You said at 2 at night.
Yeah, because her flight got delayed from Arizona because of like other storms around the nation. So she's supposed to get home like 11. She got home at like 1:48. She got in bed about 2.
What was she going for? Like family trip or what?
It was a Thrive direct sales. It was a local event that was down there between a bunch of leaders in the company.
And that day she was back. I mean,
I left work early that morning, like 5:15, 5:30. So like she barely got into bed pretty much.
And, you know, this might be a tough question, but did you guys get into an argument before she left?
It wasn't like an argument. We had an emotional conversation, but I'll leave it at that. But I just want them back. I just want them to come back. And if they're not safe right now, that's what's tearing me apart. Because if they are safe, they're coming back. But if they're not, this has got to stop. Like somebody has to come forward.
you spoken to her family, like her parents?
Yeah, they've been in constant
He doesn't
contact.
break eye
like,
contact.
every
Like when he says these like really big lies, he doesn't break eye contact. It's like he is trying to convince whoever he's talking to that this is true. But I don't think people make that kind of eye contact when they're talking to people. You know, it looks forced to me.
hour. I mean everybody back in North Carolina and the East Coast. I mean from Maine to Florida.
What is her parents saying to you? Like,
They're just like if they need to get on a flight, just let them know, because I mean they feel helpless right now because they're on the opposite side of the country. I mean Colorado is, I mean, you can't just drive around and look. I mean it's just like you wouldn't really know what you're looking for. That's what the cops pretty much told me. That first day I was like, I want to get out and drive around. They said, you wouldn't know what to look for.
last couple questions. What is law enforcement? What have the police or the sheriffs or your neighbors? Is anybody? What's police saying to you?
Right now, this is what they're doing right now is with the canines in the sense. I think this is the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing they've done so far, because yesterday the Frederick Police Department did all the searching of the house and tried to gather whatever information they could, and with the detectives, officers, and sergeants. And today it's, I mean, obviously with all the activity that's around, it's there's a lot going on around here, and I really hope that all this can lead to something positive.
What did your neighbors, did they see anything? Did your neighbors see anything?
No, like the police department went door to door asking, like, cameras and everything, just like nothing.
And my last question, if you have any though, so feel free to step in. My last question is, if your wife can see this, if she can watch this, what would you like to tell your wife and your kids?
Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
That's it. I can take that mic off you.
So yeah, you know, he never, like, this part here is his like call to action. Hey guys, help me find my family. And then he doesn't even tell anybody how to help.
Please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here. Please bring her back.
I bet that was very hard for him to say.
That's it. I can take that mic off you.
Man, that guy is just I can't even, I don't know. It's just crazy that somebody could stand there and do this. Like this, I don't know what he was thinking, to be honest. I mean, you know, he knows what happened to them, but he thinks that this is a good idea, that this is, you know, the best way for him to not get noticed. And I mean, it's just, I guess when you're crazy, these are the crazy things you do that you think are, you know, the right thing to do. This was the worst thing he could have done. But he'd already been making bad choices, so it kind of makes sense. But I don't know. Do any of you guys remember, like, when you first saw this? Did you think he might have actually lost his family, or did it just seem weird to you too? Because I do remember seeing this, and I was like, "Oh, I can't watch that. He murdered his family." You know, I saw it on the news, and you know, I think like a month or maybe a year, I don't remember, but there was somebody else in the news like before this, you know, a similar thing. And you know, you just kind of start seeing this pattern whenever the husband's on the news trying to find a family, that's because he murdered them. Yeah, Molly says that he watched after he pled guilty. Yeah, I don't think I even watched much after that. I think it was a couple years after that I actually started looking into it, um, because it's just, when there's kids involved, it just really gets to me. It's really hard to think about it. Um, but yeah, so this is the audio for the interviews. Um, I know you guys have probably read through this document many times, like I have, but this is the log note of what was said that day. I don't know if it's actually word for word, but this is pretty long. I don't know if we'll get through it all, but we're gonna listen to as much as we can. And that is not the right file. Okay, sorry about that. Let me see if I can find the right one. Well, maybe I didn't save it. Desktop. Trying to find it. Because I actually went through and kind of tried to help with the audio issues. It kind of sounds a little weird, but I got out most of the fuzz, and now it kind of has like this reverb echo that happens when you edit a digital audio file. But I think it is a little more clear. And there it is. Yeah, I do have it.
Bruce?
Do you remember us?
There we go.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I see it. I just took a moment there.
It was like different.
They get the haircut every 2 months, but just to buzz pretty much everything off and all that. So.
I'm trying to think, did you have a
Yes.
tea last time? Okay.
They have like a little single blade razor, so I just kind of, like go past the stubble. You're just kind of.
Just do the best you can, huh?
You just gotta go with that.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How about you guys?
Good.
Good.
I did not expect to see this. That's for sure.
Surprised.
Yes.
Well, let me put some fears aside. We're not here for what you might think we might be here for.
Well, they didn't know what that's a computer room. I was like, I didn't know we had a computer room.
Without computers.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you remember, I talked to you, Tammy talked to you, Dave talked to you. We're all from Colorado. And so the last time we talked to you, it's a different situation, right? Our investigation was open and your case was open. That's completely different now. So your case is completely closed. Nothing about what we're going to talk about today has anything to do with an open investigation. So we're not here to get more charges on you or get any statements from you that are going to jam you up anymore, right? That's all done. So all of our cases are closed and the court case is closed. So there's nothing that we're going to talk about today that's going to get you in any type of more trouble at all. And so I wanted to make sure you knew that's not why we're here.
Okay.
But why we are here. So the three of us work from three different agencies, right? Quite a bit different. CBI, FBI, and Frederick PD. Different goals. And the things that happened with you kind of all brought us together. And as the months have passed on, since everything happened, we just keep in touch with each other and we keep talking to each other. And we've all separately kind of said, did Chris seem unique to you? Me and Tammy have talked about this, Dave and I have talked about this. Did Chris's situation seem different to you? And we keep having that conversation. We can't quite put our finger on it, right? We think that your life leading up to all the things that happened were very interesting to us. And for me personally, I don't know if you remember, but one of the last things you told me was, "Hey, Graham, I'm sorry that I started lying to you." And that stuck with me for the last couple months. It's been ringing in my head, right? I've never, ever worked a case like this where someone told me that, ever. And so as I walked away, I thought, Chris is different. Chris is a little bit unique in that regard. So in talking with Tammy and talking with Dave, I said, what did you feel like when it all went down? When we were there, when we were talking to you guys, and we all kind of, in our own different way and in our own different wording, said it all happened a bit too quick for us, right? So when we saw you last, we were talking and talking and talking about your family, about your parents, about everyone. And then the next thing you know, for me and Tammy and for Dave, all of a sudden some patrol officers came in and arrested you. And that was far quicker than we had hoped it would happen. And you understand why that happened, and we understand why that happened. But it left us with 1,000 questions that we didn't get to ask. And then even more importantly, I think it probably left you with 1,000 things that you didn't get to talk about with us. I don't know if you feel that way or not, but and so that's why we're here today. We wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit more about everything. I think there's a lot of things that you didn't get to talk about, and so that's why we're here. And it sticks with me that to this day, there's not one person that's told me, I saw it coming. I knew Chris was like that. I knew it. Not one person. So.
What just happened? Is it still playing for you guys? Because I just think something weird is going on. And I really hope you guys can hear me still. Can you hear me though?
Bruce?
Do you remember us?
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry about that, guys. I'm not sure what just happened, but my whole thing just glitched and then everything was gone.
Can't talk to us?
No.
We think that your life leading up to all the things that happened were very
Hey, Maria.
interesting to us. And for me personally,
Does anybody know where we were? I think, with StreamYard, if you accidentally close the browser, you lose everything that you have on here. And I think that glitch I just saw was the StreamYard browser just closed down. But I'm going to start a playback at a minute and 45 seconds or so.
different CBI, FBI, and Frederick PD, different goals. And the things that happened with you kind of all brought us together. And as the months have passed on since everything happened, we just keep in touch with each other and we keep talking to each other. And we've all separately kind of said, did Chris seem unique to you? Me and Tammy have talked about this, Dave and I have talked about this. Did Chris's situation seem different to you? And we keep having that conversation. We can't quite put our finger on it, right? We think that your life leading up to all the things that happened were very interesting to us. And for me personally, I don't know if you remember, but one of the last things you told me was, "Hey, Graham, I'm sorry that I started lying to you." And that stuck with me for the last couple months. It's been ringing in my head, right? I've never, ever worked a case like this where someone told me that, ever. And so as I walked away, I thought, Chris is different. Chris is a little bit unique in that regard. So in talking with Tammy and talking with Dave, I said, what did you feel like when it all went down? When we were there, when we were talking to you guys, and we all kind of, in our own different way and in our own.
Oh my God, did it just do it again? Okay, sorry guys, I don't know what's going on, but it just did it again. Here, let me try something. I'm going to pull up YouTube so we can stay live, and I'm going to reset everything. Yeah, thank you guys for your patience. I don't know what's happening. I haven't had too much problems with StreamYard before. If the live stream goes down, it'll come back. I just have to restart it all. All right. So hopefully you guys can still hear me and we're still live. Okay, let me try this one more time, adding the video file.
Yes.
Do you remember us?
Yes. Yes.
See?
Okay. I see it. I just took a moment there.
You
Good to see
look
you.
different.
They get the haircut
See.
every 2 months.
On since everything happened, we just keep in touch with each other and we keep
Sorry,
talking
guys.
to each other. And we've all separately kind of said, did Chris seem unique to you? You know, me and Tammy have talked about this, Dave and I have talked about this. Did Chris's situation seem different to you? And we keep having that conversation. We can't quite put our finger on it, right? We think that your life leading up to all the things that happened, and you understand why that happened, and we understand why that happened, but it left us with 1,000 questions that we didn't get to ask. And then even more importantly, I think it probably left you with 1,000 things that you didn't get to talk about with us. I don't know if you feel that way or not, but, and so that's why we're here today. We wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit more about everything, you know. I think there's a lot of things that you didn't get to talk about. And so, you know, that's why we're here. And it sticks with me that to this day, there's not one person that's told me, I saw it coming. I knew Chris was like that. I knew it. Not one person. So it's just, it's interesting to me, right? Not one. So we want to talk a little bit about that. Some of the people that we work with, your family, Shanann's family, have said, you know, if you get to talk to Chris, would you tell him some things for me? So we have that to talk about today, and it's good. I think you'll like it. I think it will give you some closure. And so really that's why we're here. Are you available to talk to us?
Definitely.
Okay. All right. So off the bat, if you have any questions, just tell us.
Okay.
If there's something that you don't want to talk about, that's okay. We might press you a little bit. Okay, we might say, well, do you mind if we just maybe then ask one question? Something makes you uncomfortable, just tell us. If we need to take any bathroom breaks, we can take bathroom breaks. You know, for anything like that. And we'll take bathroom breaks and water breaks ourselves too. So then, is there anything about your schedule today that makes it that you can't talk to us?
No, there was like a pass for this in the AM and the PM.
Okay.
They reserved the room the whole day,
Oh,
just
okay.
in case.
That's just what they do.
Okay. I didn't know if that was like 2 separate things or something.
I think you have to go back for lunch to get counted for or something.
Oh.
Accounted for.
Yeah, I think
11:30.
lunch was like 11, but the count was like 12:15.
So in general, how is it here?
It's a lot different than Colorado.
Is it?
It's
Good or bad?
It's better, I think, because it's here. I'm actually around other people. In Colorado, it was just like I was segregated, and it was pounding on the walls all night, screaming, and just just army
From other people?
Oh,
Really?
they were just telling me like how I should kill myself and like what they're gonna do to me, and just like all that kind of stuff. So,
Oh.
it was today. This this is a lot different because, I mean, people here don't seem to, it's not like they don't care, but it's just kind of like they don't like judge you as soon as you walk in. Colorado was like, they knew why I was there, and that was it. They're just like, they had 1 second alone with me, it would have been,
Really? Gee, man. Must be out then.
out of like Boca County jail. I don't know what it was like in, DOC there, but they had to lock down the jail for me to walk down the hallway.
Wow. It will.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to make sure you were completely separated from anyone else. Jeez.
Wow.
Like I didn't see anybody else there. Like I was in the cell next to somebody, but like I never saw them.
You just hear them.
How did they know who you were?
I don't know. I just they make phone calls in there too.
Oh, okay.
And they got the newspaper in there before I got in there. So
Yeah. Have you been able to talk with family members?
oh, yeah, definitely. Like we get from 6 p.m. to 7:30. That's our my unit's time out. So we get used to going at that point in time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And do they charge you for it? Or?
Oh, it's just like it's like Secures or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how do you make money to pay for that?
They put money on the phone.
Oh.
So if I call, if I was to dial somebody's number, they'd have to have a phone account set up.
Oh.
Otherwise, it's such restricted.
And then so who you call pays for it?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. Have you been able to talk to family members and parents and all
Yeah,
that?
my mom and dad, my sister.
Okay. Good. Is that a good thing?
That's a good thing.
Good. Good, man.
Yeah, they don't hear from me. They're like, "Oh, what's wrong?" What's going on?
Oh, good. And how is it with them?
And so far, so good.
Yeah. It was hard to hear your parents at sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't know what they were gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. And so, yeah, I really appreciated what they said. I don't know about you.
I definitely was. I didn't expect them to be there. I knew they were there on the 6th, but I didn't expect them to fly back, and they wanted to fly back for that. So.
Yeah. That meant a lot what your mom said.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Good. Well, so we have 1,000 questions. I'm sure you do too. Do you care if we start, or do you have any questions for us?
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that we're battling with is, and I won't make any assumptions today. So, are you aware that this was a national story?
After a little while, I didn't talk to my parents while I was in Colorado.
Okay.
Because my attorney team told me, all right, no phone calls, no letters, no nothing.
Okay.
So I made one phone call when I was in the segregation area there, but my dad thought it was somebody a news, somebody trying to call.
So he didn't answer.
Yeah, so he didn't answer. But other than that,
okay,
I didn't talk to anybody. But from what some of the deputies were saying, that or my attorney team coming in and said, this is they've got people from Australia, England, and all kinds of people trying to figure out what's going on. So,
did they send you any of the letters, like fan mail or anything? Well,
I got letters, but I couldn't keep them with me, so I could read them on my hour out. But it's I got a bunch of letters that had no return address and stuff.
It really bothers me that somebody who can do this could actually be getting fan mail. And they just asked them, "Are you reading your fan mail?" That's insanity. Hey, Laurel, thank you. That's really kind of you.
That was just not very good letters.
Yeah. So, okay. They came from a weird perspective, didn't they? From what we had heard.
Definitely. There was one person, I guess, from Broomfield that was writing 4 times a week trying to come visit me. And then there was just a lot of people writing notes, bleed through markers saying, you're a monster, all kinds of stuff.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about some hard.
Hey, Wheels of Life. So I got to stop this for a second. Wheels of Life said that unrelated, but my wife's friend's husband cheated on her recently with her own best friend. And where'd it go? The wife posted it, all the evidence on social media. So I got to ask, what is this evidence? Because if it's some things, if you post on the internet during for example, you post somebody's naked pictures on social media, you could go to jail for that. So I'm just kind of curious what happened, because it could be really bad.
Issues today, but I don't intend to take you to a dark place today.
Okay.
I hope that when we're done, you'll feel better. I hope it'll be therapeutic. We're going to talk about, obviously, what happened with your family. And so that's going to be hard to talk about. I appreciate anything you can tell me about it. If you need to take time out, if you need to get a tissue, that's fine, right? I think it'll be very good for you. It'll be good for us. And so one of the reasons I asked about that national attention is we were aware that you were getting a lot of letters, a lot of interest, and then us personally as law enforcement, we got so many people who claim to have known you, claim to have been with you, dated you, slept with you, and 99 times out of 100, they were just crazy people, right? And so maybe that's a good place to start. Had you heard about any of that?
John Walsh, he told me about some dude from Wyoming.
Yeah.
Trent?
Yeah, that guy. That blew my mind. I was like, who the hell is this guy?
And who told you about that?
Attorney John Walsh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we talk about him?
Graham and I interviewed him.
You had to?
Yes.
Waste our lives.
Yes.
So Trent, in summary, Trent came in and said, met you online on a dating app, had a few, casual but quick sexual encounters with you. And let me be very clear. Not only are we not here to jam you up today, we're also not here to judge you. And if there is anything like that, you can imagine we've heard way worse, way different, So if it's true, I hope that you can just casually say, yeah, this happened. It wasn't as bad as he said, but maybe this happened. So his story was met online, met you, and it was a time when you were experimenting with men. And so he said he met a couple times, met his friends, went to an apartment, had a couple of meetings in a parking lot, and then that was basically it. Any of that sound familiar? Okay.
No, I've never met the guy.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he talked about being in your truck with your girls, like the whole 9 yards. So.
Okay.
I've never even been to Wyoming, let alone driven up there to see somebody.
Yeah. And so this is maybe a weird question for you.
Well, guys, if you can hear me, I don't know what's going on tonight, but I'm having some really bad problems with the live. It just keeps like kicking my stuff out of here. And I have no idea where we were. So I'll just have to guess again.
Chris?
Do you remember us?
Yes. Okay.
So from my point of view, I can hear it, but I can't see it.
They get haircut every 2 months, but just to buzz pretty much everything off and all that. So.
I'm trying to think. Did you have a tea last time? Okay.
They have like a little single blade razor, so I just kind of, go past the stubble. You just kind of
Just do the best you can, huh?
You just gotta go with that.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm okay. How about you guys?
Good. Good.
I did not expect to see this. That's for sure.
Surprised.
Yes.
Well, let me put some fears aside. We're not here for what you might think we might be here for.
Well, they didn't know what that's a computer room. I was like, I didn't know they had a computer room.
Without computers.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey guys, again, sorry. I don't know what's going on here. I've never had this issue before, but I feel like I should be getting a refund from StreamYard. This is not cool. That time it was even worse than before. Like I couldn't close the window. I had to use Control-Alt-Delete.
Chris? But here, I'm not sure if that's the same, but I just talked to my sister, parents, some friends of my parents.
Do you wish you could talk to her?
maybe once just to
get some closure.
just to say like, hey, just once.
Yeah.
Just to say like, I'm sorry this all happened. I'm sorry. I'm not sure like what happened like afterwards, like what you went through. Like if you had like counseling, if you're like different state, if you had to leave everything behind. I just wanted to let you know I'm sorry, and that's not something I ever saw in my life happening or happening to somebody else either.
Would you be alright if we told her that?
That's fine.
Do you want us to? Do you want us not to?
And if she would want to even talk to you guys, like, I'm not sure if someone comes like, I'm sure she'd answer your phone call more than the attorney phone call that she didn't want to go answer.
Oh, so your attorney tried to call her and she wouldn't answer?
Yeah, because I remember her phone number, but after that they figured out, I guess, where she lived. They left a business card there. And she just, pretty much after like the 5th attempt, she said stop. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's getting bombarded like everyone else, so.
Hopefully it's calmed down since, but I'm sure like, I just hope she can like I'm like there's like normalcy for her, not since she's on the outside, but I'm hoping it can get that way at some point. I'm not sure if she had to leave Colorado or not, but I'm sure like, that would have been hard if she did.
Mm-hmm.
And when a narco was her dream job, so that's one thing I always like asked my attorneys is like, did she have to leave? Like, did she have to do anything at work? Because that was one thing. So she always told me that was her dream job. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? What does she mean?
Oh, like an oil company in a narco is like, unless you're working for like BP or like Phillips or something.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And a narco is like, it's like
Big leagues?
Yeah.
Can I ask kind of a tough question? Did you love her?
I felt like it was true.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it was the same from her. Yeah. Okay. Tell us about the time you spent with her.
Well, I mean, it felt like it was, I think like when you said like I was more like a shy guy, it's kind of like I've never like been pursued by anybody before. It's kind of like I was the one, trying to pursue. Because like when me and Shanann met, it was like, she was always like pushing me away, kind of like,
She was sick for a while, right?
Oh, yeah, she had just got diagnosed with lupus, and she was on like a bunch of different medications and stuff. And it was like, I guess I wasn't her type. And
you weren't her type?
I wasn't her type. Because like she told me like.
So yeah, I believe during this they talk about when they're talking about the letters. I might have missed it whenever I was having technical problems, but they talk about the letters that are being sent to him, and then I think they talk about some people who have claimed that they had relationships with him, and one of them was a man. And Chris says he doesn't know them at all. So I don't know if that's already happened or if it's about to happen.
When she first, because we had met.
She told you that?
Yeah.
You're nuts.
I remember you telling me that.
Yeah, it was like, when we first met, like, it was at a movie theater, and my cousin's ex-wife set us up.
You were dressed like shit, weren't you?
I
think that's what you told me.
Yeah, I didn't know, like, that.
They weren't having any games.
So she was fancy and he was in like shorts and tennis shoes or something, right?
And, like, I should have known the doorman, was in a suit. And I was just like, this isn't good.
Like, was it a theater?
It was a fancy theater, right?
It was in Charlotte. It was called the Epicenter. And apparently they give you like champagne and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, this is a fancy date night theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he came like he was going to a Cinemax.
Like I was going to a pop.
Like AMC.
Like a white theater?
No, it was like you we just watched a normal movie, but like you can like drink champagne and like have like Jack and Coke inside the theater. And
because I'm pretty sure Tammy said how much it made her sick to be in the same room with him, but she's really relaxed and she's laughing hard. It doesn't sound like a forced chuckle or anything. That's like some deep belly laughing.
sat there and just whatever, but like, so when she first saw me, she was like, I should probably just turn and talk to the bartender a little more. Like, no, I'm not here to meet. But yeah, like I was like persistent trying to pursue something. I liked her, and even on our first date, like I couldn't even eat anything really. I was just like, you know,
Just nervous.
yeah,
Really?
yeah. She was just like, you know, chowing down. And she was like, you eat like a bird. I'm like, oh, that's funny. And she taught my parents, like, you know, months later, she's like, this guy just never ate. I was like, this guy eats like a trash disposal. It's trash disposal. I was like, no, that wasn't not around me. I was like, well, I was nervous. I was just like, I was always like shaking and everything. But yeah, I was always pursuing her, and then just like finally, I grew onto her. Like, you know, I would always like with her medications and stuff. I would always like, she had like 8 bottles of medication, so I would always get like her day and nights and kind of like put them all in that little, you know, flip open pill box, yeah, all that kind of stuff. And I would always, you know, be around her. I even went to her colonoscopy. And she said after that she knew.
So Gerald's 2 cents says, I think the FBI agents are trained to disassociate. They have to deal with the nausea afterward. And, you know, I mean, I guess that is a good point. They want him to relax so that he'll be honest and open up. But at the same time, I don't know that you can actually train yourself to dissociate from, you know, what they're about to be talking about. I've said it before, but I think, you know, sometimes these people who, you know, do these types of investigations are a little bit, you know, they're just using their powers for good instead of evil, but they could probably be serial killers themselves.
That was like kind of a keeper. It's like, who goes to a colonoscopy after 3 months with somebody?
Right.
It's a little soon.
Well, she asked if she needed that ride. I'm like, yeah. She's like, you want to go across the colonoscopy with me? I'm like, sure, why not? Yeah. Like, I even sat with her while she drank that nasty stuff all day.
You know, something I always think about though is Chris Watts, like when he's like having this conversation, is he like legitimately like forgetting what he did for a few moments? And because he sounds like he's laughing also, you know, and he's talking about everyday things like, you know, he didn't just destroy his life and he's never going to be able to do those everyday things again. He's got to have these moments, I think, where you just kind of forget the, you know, whatever the stressor was. In this case, it's murder. But like if you lost a family member, you know, and you go to a funeral, you know, sometimes it might seem weird when you see somebody laughing at a funeral, but you know, we're still alive, and you know, sometimes we just forget that that sadness that, you know, overwhelms us when we lose someone. And I wonder if something like that's happening right now. I know it's a little bit different because he's the murderer. He didn't just lose them, but you know, he's got to have some emotions. I know everyone says he doesn't, but I think he's got to have some. On some level, he's got to feel some kind of guilt for this. And, you know, I hope that he's sitting in prison thinking about this stuff and actually feeling sorry for what he did, not for getting caught. But I just I don't know. I mean, either he has no emotions like everyone says, or he's just like going through the little waves of, you know, forgetting the, you know, that thing, you know, in his case, what he did, he murdered someone, he's in prison, so his life is, you know, changed drastically, and then he's having these little brief moments of, you know, forgetting where he's at and why he's there. But I don't know, I mean, he could definitely be just without a conscience. I just have a hard time, you know, letting myself believe that, because I don't know, it just seems like everyone has to have at least a little bit of, you know, empathy in their body, even if they ignore it or can ignore it or something. I don't know. I know they say some people don't feel it at all, but I just can't believe it myself.
Yeah.
Oh. Or she's in the bathroom
That's
all
a good
night.
test.
that clear stuff that doesn't really taste clear. Yeah, but it was. I mean, it felt like it was a great relationship. Everything was great.
Now you're talking about with Kissinger?
No, with Tom Shanann, and like in the first year, you know, like, you know, my parents never. Oh, I don't know. My mom was always kind of hesitant.
Why?
I I was the baby, I guess. I never, because I never had a girlfriend in high school, so it's kind of like she never like really saw me like.
Oh, interesting. So she's kind of watching her baby walk out a little bit.
Yeah, because when I turned 18, I graduated. I never moved back.
Okay.
At home, so my sister moved back and forth all the time. So.
How old were you when you met Shanann?
I was 25. It was 2010. So.
Okay.
So no serious girlfriends before that?
Nothing more than like 6 months or so. Yeah, there was some girls here and there, but just not.
Oh my God. Okay, guys, I'm going to try something different this time. I'm going to try to use YouTube and see if I could just share my screen and just play the video on a player or something here. Yeah. Hey guys, so I can't switch from StreamYard to YouTube because it's set up through StreamYard. I could start this over, we could try again, but it's really frustrating. I'm not like watching the bar there to see how far we are in the video whenever it decides to go crazy. Let me see. Maybe I'll try a different browser. Uh, Yeah, I only have one browser. I have this. I don't know what's going on, but it's very annoying. Maybe that the video I'm playing is just too long. Um, but I am going to try to do it from the actual. I'm going to share my screen. I think it'll work fine. All right. So let's try this one last time, and then I might just have to, do this again tomorrow or something because it's not working right. Anybody remember where we were?
So then what do you call her here? There's so many right. Full color. Was it different? It just seemed like I was more in control. And that never happened. She actually asked me it's like what I want to do. As new, wasn't it? It's fascinating to me. And so did it feel more like an equal partnership or seemed like it? Yeah. Okay. So then when it was date night, would you guys talk about it? Would you ask to go somewhere? Would she say, I want to go somewhere? The first time we went out, it was to a movie over at the Orchard. We walked over there, and I asked her, like, hey, we're going to see this movie. Like, yeah, just got there, it was sold out. Only by the second was wait 2 hours. So walking around this time. Okay. Oh wow. That was different. And, I think she wanted to go to the car museum, show museum, older. I've never been there. That's right up your alley. Yeah. It's like those around cars, so. And then drag race, then here. Okay. I haven't been to a drag race since 2008. That was in Charlotte. Okay, cool. I can go over there. It's like the HRA, the capital, or something like that. Used to go there. And then went to San Diego International Park, and I never do it. She started oh really? Okay. She's outdoorsy? Yes. Okay. Yeah, she every time she did it there, she's still by herself. But she's a completely new type of person in a relationship. Yeah. Okay. All right. What were you thinking this whole time? Back in my head, I was just telling myself every time I open up my phone and see pictures my wife and my kids, just one my kid. And then every time I was with her, it seemed like it didn't think. It seemed like it was blender of my face. And every time I look at it, I have pictures of my wife and kids. So every night, every morning, every night, it's cool, say I have this book. I used to read for CC. I remember that book, so I read it every night. And there's some scripture and stuff that are useful. So just try to think back. I had those old cycles that lined up on my head, my eyes, after the season. What was going on? Everybody said, "Oh, you're just out and having fun, like your kids, or his wife or vacation on the same house." It wasn't like that, but it seemed like that's what it looked like. You're going, you're going to camping, you're going to drag race, all the other stuff that you have fun doing with somebody else. It's not your family, right? They're all with her. It
didn't seem like I needed to see that. So they're at her house pretty much every night. So it was like I didn't have that time at home just to really think about, hey, literally, I didn't, like, I was only at home for like I worked, I worked out, I ate dinner, and then I went over, like, I was like the whole of July.
Yeah. Talking me through that though. When you said you went home and you were at her house, was that while Shanann was gone? Oh, okay. So you were even at your house.
No,
This happened so quickly, didn't it?
it was the same. Like, she told me she was never like a normal relationship. She would never have somebody over her house, like, more than once or twice a week, but she felt like she wanted me over there. Yeah, so she felt comfortable over there. So it was just like, that's what was different. Like, she wanted me over there. But I just wish that all go away. I just wish I almost like it. I know it's hard to, I know it's honestly, I wish I never met somebody, but I wish I, maybe met her at work and then just kept it that way.
I think if we had a time machine, I don't think this would happen again. Because some people, where this happens, you're like, well, if it wasn't this time, it would have been next time, or it would have been the next time. Which is what that happened if you would have. It happened so quickly that you tell me if I'm wrong. You're not the type of guy to take control sometimes when you need to. It seems like this is what happened.
I didn't think about the situation. It's like the situation controlled me.
It just happened. No, I get that, man. I'm somewhat passive myself, and it's like, this situation, I'm like, why did it?
Yes. I don't know why it was like a roller coaster ride that I just kept punching and taking on.
Yeah. We can talk about the hardest something. So when we were talking, the last time we talked about was where to go for it. But we never really got to talk about that night. What happened?
So nothing really happened that night. It was important. Because, me and Shanann, she got home at 2 o'clock. And, I felt weird in bed. And I just felt like I didn't really get it. So I just make sure I looked at my phone up to make sure she was up, she's in there. And I kind of feel her kind of stirring around a little bit. I just had a feeling that she knew like what was going on. But I mean, obviously, I didn't use like I didn't ever get card. I used my actual credit card. I kind of just felt it something. She knew what was going on. And she started rubbing her hand on me, and we ended up having sex. But I guess that was more like a test. I would have thought.
Okay.
Yeah, because when we talked, when I woke up later on in the morning, like.
So, what kind of test? Why would that be a test? It's weird, his thinking process, how he figures these things out. Why would he think it's a test that he had sex with his wife? Like, it's just weird.
Told her like, I didn't think it was gonna work anymore. And she was like, I told her last night, after that test, after I've gone through everything in my head, that makes sense. And she just told me, get off of her. And she's like, I knew there was somebody else, I knew there was somebody else, somebody else. I couldn't just say yes, there is somebody else. She said, never gonna see the kid again. Never gonna see them again. Get off me. Don't hurt me. That's what she said. So like when I climbed in bed.
See, this part of the story I don't believe happened because it didn't look like Shanann fought with Chris at all. You know what I mean? Like the autopsy report, there was no like sign of a struggle. Chris didn't have any defensive wounds on his body. And I don't believe this part of the story, but it doesn't mean it's not true. I mean, I'm sure there are ways that, he could strangle somebody and just basically get lucky and not, you know, be fought. But if she's yelling at him, threatening to take the kids away forever, she's ready to fight. She's not like asleep or passed out or, unsuspecting. She's ready. She would have fought back, I think. If this had actually happened, I think there would have been a sign of a struggle.
She thought I was gonna like, her behaviors because she knew that like something happened. Thought I was just trying to just check out. Yeah. And that's I know it's hard, but we talk to the people don't want. So she comes home. She touches you guys have sex. It's what she's doing for test. What I understand. Something to be paid. I'm sure like a little bit here full Atkinson or Cat probably told her. That's what I was thinking, right? They talked about it during a whole weekend. One of my that's my parents told me there was like going through like text messages, it's like all like pretty much they all kind of told her so somebody else. Yeah. She spent a lot of time with the gals. That's what they did on the weekend was talk about it, give her advice, and that's what we found. Right. Okay. So she comes home. You guys have sex, and then did you fall asleep between bed and going to work? Yes. Okay. So then, at some point, does she wake you up, or did you wake up to work? Oh, okay. You're gonna work out. But then that's when she started talking about the top one. She was pretty bad. I mean, it was kind of do that. Using that credit card. Was that intentional?
Yeah.
I had no other way to do it. No. I used to, because I got to do that narco gift cards from like, doing good stuff at work. Yeah.
So Will's of life says he's a coward. I think she was asleep when he did it. I think so too. And I think she probably would have tried to fight back if she was asleep. I don't think she was drugged. I know a lot of people seem to think she had taken a bunch of oxycodone or something, but I don't think that was in the autopsy report. So I don't think that had happened. But if she was asleep, he technically could have caught her in such a way that she wouldn't have been able to fight back. Because if you squeeze those arteries on your neck, it's basically, if you watch MMA, rear naked chokes, they kind of pinch off the it's basically a blood choke. They cut off the blood circulation and you pass out. And it happens within 10 seconds or so. So that could have really been what happened. But if he's got huge hands, like he seems like he's a big guy, that's very possible. And I've thought about this a lot, and I think that's what actually happened. I don't think there was an argument, at least not right then. Maybe there was, and then she went to sleep, and then he came up there and choked her out after she went to sleep.
Even I think my attorney said she even knows they use a different card, like a new card, mixed out. Like I felt comfortable enough this all the way.
I don't think the autopsy report is actually a 2,000-page document. The one I've read is just a few pages. I mean, I imagine it goes into more detail if you want to look at every little thing, but there's a summary that talks about what they found in the blood system and all that stuff. I'll see if I can find it. Maybe I could show you that. But I didn't think it's actually 2,000 pages.
Yeah.
It felt like, like looking back at everything, like just like reading the scripture more and more now, I can see like, God gave me opportunities to get at it. Like even my friend Jeremy Loveland, he even invited me to like go see his daughter that came watch the kids on Saturday. That Saturday night. And you're like, hey, you said we're going to a Rocky game. You want to go to a Rocky game? Watch theirs on first. Like in my mind, it was like, you know, yeah, just say, hey, I can't get on a base. Yeah, and maybe that would have been like, light switch in my head goes off, light switch in her head goes off, maybe just like goes different direction. That was kind of like my last like opportunity to kind of get out of this. So, I wish I would have said yes. I think that would have just put me on a different trajectory.
So then, Shanann, did she actually say you're going to get him?
She said it to me before. Yeah. At that part. Yeah, because she said it before she went to Arizona. So like I was listening in the bedroom, I was in the basement bed or something. Like she had slept over here. Let's see the kid again.
Did she get fired?
Only once in our entire relationship that was in that.
Yeah. And that was the time before, was that on the night that happened?
No, it was right back in North Carolina. Yeah, it was just like one of those. It was just fiery argument that I never went to her or anything. Like I just got at the door and she was like, just like.
Is that when you were in North Carolina that last week?
No, it was like
Previous to that?
it was like early at Bill's house
Before kids?
Yes.
Were you dating or were you married at that point?
Date. Yeah, it was like I don't remember what it was about. I think some girl maybe texted me like from my past or something. Like I was just like, ugh. And she said, no, don't have that. Females, like I didn't talk this whole day. It was just like, no.
Was she fired? Did she have that Italian blood in her mom ass?
Or yes.
Was she always like that, or was she? Did she snap at things?
She was snapping at me, but you could tell like something really hurt her a little bit.
Yeah.
It would come out.
0 to 100 type thing, or what?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 200. She gets activated about something.
All right, guys. So I found it. I'm going to go ahead and look through it real quick. I just got to switch my share screen thing. So this is the autopsy report. Hopefully you guys can see it clearly. But it's only 9 pages long. And, whenever I first read it, the blood alcohol was kind of what stood out to me. It looked like maybe she had been drinking, but what I found out is after you die, your body produces this kind of stuff. And this was normal. But it basically explains everything about what they found in the autopsy report. And oh man, I found this on Scribed. It's a website that lets you purchase a membership and then you can download all this stuff. And the funny thing is I've actually downloaded this before, but I've lost it. And apparently when I signed in, I thought maybe I would be able to pull up the stuff that I already downloaded, but apparently you can't. So, I mean, that's fine. But I think ads are going to pop up every now and then. But, it just goes over the basic stuff. She's 34, Caucasian female, goes over her date of birth. Her medical history is unknown. I don't know why this stuff is necessary, but reportedly she returned home after a business trip in the early morning of August 13th. This was the last time she was seen alive. Let me just skip through some of this. The identification was done by the Will County coroner, probably off of her ID or something. The clothing, she had a purple t-shirt, a pair of blue underwear, and a black bra, white metal piercing in the left nares. What does that mean? The ear? Did she have any piercings, guys? I never noticed any. But let's see. So this is the basic. Well, we got to do these stupid ads, but let's see. So there's abrasions on the neck and the left aspect of the face. There was a 1 centimeter area of bruising on the. See, she was strangled on the anterior subcutaneous neck tissue, but I think it's, she was choked. Bruising. And I don't know what muscles they're talking about, but I have to kind of guess that this is all on the neck. Bruising of the soft tissue, the facial tissue, the thyroid cartilage, which I don't know what it is, but I know you got some thyroids here in your neck, those glands. So the autopsy was done at 10:30 on August 17th. It was done at McKee Medical Center in Loveland, Colorado. It goes on with all the basics here. At the time of the autopsy, rigor mortis is released in the major muscle groups. This is hard to kind of read through, but liver mortis is not readily apparent due to postmortem artifact. There's an area of blanching on the right aspect of the abdomen along the groin to the right thigh. This is consistent with the area of pressure, but it basically says she was choked. And these are annoying ads. And I can't see what you guys are saying as I'm trying to kind of scroll through this, but it isn't very long. I'm trying to get to the summary part, but they weighed the organs. Oh my goodness. Traumatic injury has been previously described, and I'm getting way too many ads. So I don't recommend using Scribed, but you can find some information here. It's kind of expensive. I think it's like $11.99 a month. And there isn't a lot of information here. So the spine was normal. Let's see, discoloration. Yeah, the tragic injury had already been described. I don't know what an epilotus is or a hypoharnix are, but the hyroid bone and the thyroid cartilage are intact, which I know that's definitely in the throat. The laryngeal mucus is unremarkable, which I think means ordinary. But it's basically the blood obtained from the spleen labs and analysis. There's not a lot of information in that, but I just thought I would share it with you guys.
otherwise she would probably say successful at Thrive.
Like she had done a couple other like, direct sales business. This one was just like it was different.
Why?
This one like I think she had done like work on Hall and like something called like It Works, and then like some other couple other things, some mags and stuff like that. The something and stuff. But this could work for her, work for me. She's like, okay, I can kind of like use this as like, all right, this is what we're doing for us.
Yeah.
And then like after a little while, like she can see how like people are above her, how it's helping them, and then it was just like trickle down effect. That was like a good system about like commission wide and everything was just she used all the business IQ she has in running those cell phone shops and various top custom shops, all that. She business minded. She knows how to do accounting, factoring, but all this like fell in place with all that.
So then on that night, was it just a new type of fight?
It was
Never had it, what happened?
totally different. Like, it felt like I was more angry than anything else. Like there was emotion to it at first. It just felt like it was just anger, just like there was no love there. It was kind of like what we were saying, what she was saying. It was just like it's almost like we knew like something was they had to tell each other. We didn't know like it wasn't ourselves.
Really? Anger from you or anger from her?
I think it was more anger from me, more like desperation from her to because she wanted. Yeah, she was something right. Like when that whole thing with my parents happened, somebody gave what's that?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, with her family?
Yeah.
pistachio ice cream. Or
Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah. This was street was all that. But that was like another outlet. Maybe I could have just like stopped everything and just kind of concentrated on helping like whatever happened there. Shanann still working on afterward. Whatever happened, I'll ask my 10-year-old nephew. Probably actually.
Well, they both had their feelings for good reasons, and they both didn't see the other person's way.
Yeah, and like maybe I did talk to my parents from then on until like August 6th, and like my dad took that whole week off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because like Shanann was like, you're not talking to them, call them, you're not doing anything.
Is that what you said?
Yeah. And the Cece's birthday was 17th, so I think the actual what they called it was like a couple days after.
See, I know I did a live stream on the Nutgate stuff. I'm actually working on a long form video, kind of going over that in a little more detail. But I actually think that if that had not happened, then we might not know who these people are. That Shanann might have survived, and so would her kids. I think this event actually was very stressful for Chris because he, had a really good relationship with his family, and then Shanann told him he wasn't allowed to talk to them anymore. And I think it was a very big stressor. And I've also thought that maybe he made these events happen. So he might have, wanted the conflict between his wife and his mother to get away from one or the other. So there's not really any way to know for sure, but I do know that this event was stressful for everyone, his mother, his wife, and probably for him because he's got to, be at home fighting with the wife about it. He agrees to everything she says to do. But meanwhile, he's, resenting everything. And, it's just a lot more pressure to put on him. And he's already, got he's high pressure situation. He just found out he's having a third child. They're in super, a huge debt hanging over their head, and they're going to have to pay more money. And Plus he's, got a girlfriend. I mean, this event could have changed everything. If Cindy Watts hadn't given that child pistachio ice cream, and I don't know why Cindy did that, whether it was a test to find out if it was real or if she just forgot or she thought it was a different kind of a nut that she was allergic to, it's really hard to say. The point is, it happened, and if it hadn't, none of this might have ever came to be.
And like my mom, my dad was like, but then there was like a post on Facebook about allergies and stuff like that. She made can't do it anymore.
So yeah, riding down the rabbit hole says Ronnie loved those girls, and I believe that 100%. I also believe Cindy loved her grandkids too. There's lots of pictures. Most of them are kind of been taken off the internet, but you can see pictures of Cindy playing with the kids, hugging them, smiling with them, doing things with them. So I think she loved the kids. I don't think she wanted anything to happen to them. I know that initially she was angry. She was, saying stuff she probably shouldn't have said, but I don't think she absolutely wanted Shanann dead, or was happy that she was dead, or was happy that her grandchildren were dead. She's a human being, and not everyone's nice to everyone all the time. And Cindy and Shanann just didn't get along, but I don't think she hated her so much. I know a lot of you guys don't agree with that, because I mean, there's just so much stuff out there that's been caught on camera, and we can see a lot of it. And I try to think of it as, that was one moment, but now it's frozen in time because it's captured on the internet, and we're still talking about this, one little, hour and one day from a long time ago where they were fighting about this. But I still think Cindy should have, said something publicly that reflected that she loved her grandkids and she didn't want anything to happen to her daughter-in-law. And at this point, I think it's too late, but she should have done that right away. But anyways, I just thought I would put that out there.
She always said she never, put those posts that connected anybody. She
If you read them,
see it, but I wish I could have just took more time just to fix that. I wanted my parents to be involved, since the whole wedding thing, and then up to that, my mom, my sister were always competitive shit, my dad was always he's just like me, I just wanted to do a long time too.
I loved your dad.
So he's the best.
See? I
So,
loved your dad.
I'm sorry, keep going. That's I just wish I could have just when we were at the beach in August, my dad was supposed to stay through the whole week off just so he could see the kids, see me, grab a pickup and sit in the couch or something. And then we just pretty much spent 5 days at the beach and just had to focus. So I mean, it's I don't want to say a punishment because I have not seen the kids, but I wanted them to see it. I wish I could have fixed all that. Even when I was at the beach, the whole span it was more what was going on before. I feel like when that figured out, I feel like I lost something in my life. I've been talking for 3 weeks that I didn't see the 2 years. FaceTime, right? And I wanted them to be able to have that relationship. They not just she was pretty much gone home, but she tried to daughter giving her how big she gave him.
I know what's interesting is that your mom
put something in front of TC.
To kill her, or
No, just I didn't care.
So, I just want to talk about this too for a second. The parents not coming to the wedding. Has Cindy ever said specifically that it was because she didn't want them to get married, or was it possibly another reason, like finances or something like that? Um, because people don't always attend these things for various reasons. I think it was a big deal. And if I was Chris Watson, my parents refused to go to my wedding, that would be like a pretty big sign that maybe this isn't the right person, because either, the person that I'm going to marry would figure out a way to win them over, or we wouldn't get married. But I guess Chris didn't care. Somebody mentioned a couple minutes ago in the chat about um, Chris just thought the women were just coming to him because of his looks. I don't think he had the confidence. He was working out. He has muscles, when he's standing on his porch and stuff, and he's got his girlfriend. But before that, I think he's just looked regular. He wasn't you know like extraordinary, like the kind of guy that just girls come running up to them, um, or anything. So
But she thinks that boundaries, like this state of age, is like people think, oh,
Like it's made up.
like it'll be fine. Go this out of rash, it'll be fine. I've seen
hey, Lauren, so what's the rule when you say you've never been married? Does that mean like you're about to get married or something, right? I'm just messing with you.
like first time we'll see a picture. He leads at that. And I know it's
So you know it's serious, yeah.
yeah, it's not like it wasn't like closed up, but she broke out this full body rash. It was really crazy looking. Luckily, like not really like that. But
So did that make you angry at your mom for doing that?
yeah, I mean, it's just like you just got older, you need to like pay attention just because another kid can have something, another kid can have something. But like, we're at that birthday party at Jeremy's that Sunday. They had a skateboard. Like Bella wanted it so bad. I'm like, can't you answer because she's easy to have it. She's like, yeah, okay. And all the other kids were like, shit, they can't have it. I just got to games illustration pops or something. It's just she had to learn that just because one kid had something, another kid can't have it for a different reason. She couldn't have done it. But that's the kind of talk I had with her. When Shanann called me, I think it was maybe like middle of July or something when she told me all this had happened. That's when I called my mom and talked to them for a while, and then they're just like, they just couldn't deal with her anymore. And just kind of like, flipped out. Like, that people Bella real high. Encouraged me because I don't think I'm always going to let you come over here again. Something like that. So it got heated. Oh, they were that. Really? It was like a last straw.
Like in the same room or over the phone?
No, they were at
They were in, so they were
really close. Yeah. The CC and Bella and when they DC you were there.
okay.
How did she find out about the ice cream thing?
Because Shanann was there, and I guess they were all sitting. One was kind of just going to be you, and my niece went into the kitchen, and she knew what ice cream was.
So I thought your mom gave it to her and she got her own ice
She
cream?
went and breathed, got it, went out inside DC. But like it's just a matter of like she could go like,
Right.
my God. I don't know what happened if she just got it on her hand. Right. But like I know what like the prick test on the back. It's like a
So are they staying there at your parents' house during that time?
yeah, it was so they would go from my Sandy and Frank's house for like a few days or 5 days and we go to my mom and dad's house every couple of days, kind of back and forth.
So it happened during that time.
And so there are so many things that happen where they just were little tiny ingredients to this recipe.
Nothing like
It's not scarcity. It's just so many things just didn't go your way.
everything was like somebody was stirring the pot. It was
Exactly what it's like. So then, I like bringing it up. Can you walk me through just the last few minutes before Shanann?
It was pretty much just, I had gotten dressed for work and then like started talking.
Did she come to you?
No, I was right there in bed.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just like, I got my blue shirt on.
There you go.
Ready to go. And
Was she asleep, or did you have to wake her up to finish your conversation?
I wake her up. It's like she got on like 2 o'clock, so she growing up. But I never knew like if her plane got delayed. Somehow told me like she just like sat around with Nicole, just like talked for a while and came home. It was like, yeah. But yeah, when she came home and everything, but yeah, like I woke her up and talked to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And is that because of just eating at your
Right, like I knew like something like did something go right with me. So I know like she knew. I just felt like maybe the kids were gonna be there when I got home that day.
Oh, interesting. Now, I don't do a fan, but I have to ask, is that really true?
I really felt like they weren't gonna be there when I got home.
Oh, and
Like she
so,
would take them somewhere?
Yeah, I just felt like either maybe I wouldn't go home, maybe they weren't gonna be there, or I wouldn't be allowed in. I think.
I think I saw some text messages where she had talked about that she would take kids to another state or something, but she wouldn't be able to afford to live in Colorado or something. Did she say that kind of stuff to you, or
Yeah.
what did she say about that?
She said she couldn't afford to live in Colorado on her own, and that I told her like, well, drive, and she pretty much makes the same amount I do.
Yeah.
But she said she wouldn't want to try just because Colorado's prices in there are a lot higher.
And just so I'm clear, you thought maybe she in your mind you thought maybe she would take the kids somewhere else or like lock her in the house
Or just like, I wouldn't want to make it seem like, trying to calm the door, trying to get her, something like that. I just felt like, that was what I did on Sunday, kind of like for Saturday night, it was kind of like the last job. I like going out with somebody and, get count cards, just like not trying to tackle those.
so walk me through it though, because she comes home, she's like, you guys have sex, you fall asleep, and you wake up for work, all natural, all, all day work, I think. What was it that made you think, I just can't do this anymore, I have to talk to her?
I did being away. I do like something. I did everything when I did. Like I know, like when I was living in India, it was different. Like I wasn't even like in the realm of I'm a dad. I'm not everything. And then like I was saying, I'm never at home, like sleeping in my own bed. Like I have no like concept of that anymore.
Interesting. Because in your mind and heart, you can move on.
Like it kind of felt like if I wasn't at home, like I didn't think about it. Almost like if I wasn't sitting at home, like I think there was at one point like Nikki had gone to the mountain with friends for like 2 days, like into June, first part of July, and then like I'll stay at home, but like from that whole month of July on, it's like I was never I never had all those reminders. Never had, like every time my wife called me, I would be at things.
While she was in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would walk outside and talk to her, like when I was next to the car or something like that. I would never be at home looking like how like pictures around me, just being in the same bed, seeing my kids, seeing everything that we both the last years.
And so, did you just want to once and for all get it out in the open?
I just wanted to just tell her how I was feeling at that point in time. Like I didn't feel like me and her were compatible anymore. I honestly didn't feel like that because what had been going on with Nikki was new. So that was new.
Right. Absolutely.
Anything that's new always feels better than the old. Yes.
You were pretty bitten by the love bug.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of therapists talking about it.
Yeah. It was just like I never felt that. I mean, even like a relationship in the past, I always felt different like in the first couple of weeks, and but it just was something that felt different. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just like I said, like I outward trolls, and like it was more of like maybe more of me coming out. Shanann always said like it always I was more myself around other people, like her cousin Cody, like Cody lived or came up business for a little bit while we were in Colorado for a little while, and Cody always talked about it. Oh, Chris is so funny, Chris is like Shanann always like what that with me. It's like I was nervous. Shoot.
There's only so much oxygen in the room, right? That's it. This is some people with dominant personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just always felt nervous. I always felt never could actually just be myself, but making it with myself like all the time.
Well, and it seems as though, and again, hard to talk about it, tell me if I'm wrong, but it also seems, is it accurate to say that sexually you were able to say, Nikki, this is what I would like, this is what I'm into, or blah, 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 maybe not with Shanann.
I think he just wanted what she wanted. She wanted to do pretty much all the time. I was like, okay, it's not me. That was Shanann. It was like, hey, but that wasn't the case for it. It's essentially, but it was me. I was just on myself. I just not think about what they were like. I was say they're not say I'm stupid or something, but a little bit of training.
Can I ask you something about that morning that you had sex with Shanann? Did you feel at all like maybe you were kind of cheating on Nikki by doing that?
I felt strange. I felt like, the first time I was with Nikki, I felt weird. First time, like,
Sure.
and then the last time I was with Shanann, I felt totally strange. I was like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I had become. I felt like I had become who I was to be. And that did not go right with me. I didn't know what it is. Nikki was asking me, like, have you done this before? Have you ever strayed away? I'm like, I never thought about it. It's like, what's different? It's like, that's still do this thing. That's never actually. I've seen girls smile at me before, and then I found it with her. It was just like, it's like she had a leash on and she put me away. As soon as she was like, hey, what's going on? So,
Well, and Tammy brings up a very good point. I wonder if that last night with Shanann, having sex, had somewhat of a role in you thinking, okay, sure, I gotta do something, I gotta say something, I gotta talk, something's gotta change.
yeah, I agree. I just felt like it was like a trigger point or something like doesn't get the push button on. Blow up, right? Something in my head, just like something hurt. So I had to say something.
So then, exactly what did you say? What happened?
So then I woke her up, and it's like I always got it. It's like older. I don't feel like this thing work. I don't want to make still trip to Aspen this year. Book the trip that week. I'll go to some like history 4-star luxury hotel.
Is this you here at home?
This meter. Okay. She had man there to watch the kids that weekend.
Okay.
And I was like, what's that? And we like something like. Well, I remember I even said, can we be pregnant just to get away from like this house. But like I'm not sure if that was like in the beginning when we started the conversation or whatnot. Conversations in different ways that they've gone from like staying together to not staying together to just like all of the above.
Okay. So this is half an hour now or what?
Definitely not more than I don't think.
Are you crying? Is she crying?
It's exactly. Or she's got no mascara. She didn't wash her face when she got home. She had makeup on clothes and mascara on top of her. Like that. Yeah, it was nothing about that conversation. I just wish I could take all of that. Just the whole thing back there. So when did it turn? As far as that conversation. Just at the end, when I was telling her like I told her I didn't love her anymore. What happened? So we get off her. Okay.
Did you say she said something like that you were hurting the baby or something?
That was before that. She was like, when I was straddling her, it was kind of like around the waist type deal.
Why did you get on her?
That's put down, but that's the story.
Was that so she listened to you?
I felt like she might listen to me just like inside of her, on top of her. Every time I think about it, it's like, did I know I was going to do that before I got on top of it?
Really? That's an interesting thought, Chris. You don't know what you did.
It's like, no, everything that happened before I don't know, like I'm trying to go back in my head. It's like, I didn't want to do this, but I did. Everything was kind of like,
Something you had to?
I just felt like it was, I don't even say it felt like I had to, it just felt like there was always something in my mind that would have turned out going to do it, and I woke up that morning, it was going to happen.
You never thought about it before.
It was just like, I don't want, like just like the same thing here, that prosecutor said, it takes 2 to 4 minutes, something like that to happen. Like, why not just let go? Oh, that's interesting. Perhaps like,
Was it feeling like it was in motion and you just couldn't stop it?
it was just like, I don't even want to know what she saw when she was like, honestly.
Did you look at her? What was she doing? Why do you think she wasn't fighting?
Maybe she was praying. Maybe she was just. I read the Bible and said, like, the scripture says, don't forgive these people for you don't know what they do. Maybe she was saying, I don't know what she was saying. Like, when you guys don't like take off the shirt and pick the pencil, it wasn't at the end. Why?
She didn't grab, could she grab your arms or were her arms pinned down or?
So, I mean, I don't think like I moved toward my knees for proper arms. It's just kind of like when I got on top, we started talking. I was it's kind of like in my head, or like in the back of my head, that was going to happen. Just like a conversation. Just like, I just wish I could let go.
Did it seem like it was that long, 2 to 4 minutes? How long did it seem for you?
I almost kind of felt like it was longer. I almost felt like I was still stuff. I'm like, just disappearing on my head, but just like I couldn't let go. Like somebody else, like I could do picture somebody else around you, holding your hands, holding your feet. Not letting go.
At some point there was a statement of rage. You feel like you're in a rage at that point?
I mean, that's the only way I can describe it. Honestly. Snap, something like that. I was my attorney said like, strangulation is more of like a passionate type thing. So I don't know how that passionate.
It's just intimate because you're right. You're using your own hands. It's a lot different than someone standing across the room and you shooting them or something like that. So
It's felt like somebody was left behind. So it's good to go.
It's interesting because there was a lot of things in your life that were like that, like where you're just like maybe felt out of control, or maybe felt like I don't know why I couldn't step back. Like he really said, everybody was like through the ball game. You wanted to say it.
I wanted to. I've been up with ball game. It's North Carolina, so I was sure. I wanted to say that. I wanted to say, no, we should have thought through it, go.
So then what?
Once it was out. She gone, and just like, I didn't know what was going on. So it was like a traumatic, I don't know what we call it, traumatic event. Everything like, I was shaking, I didn't know what happened. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I had done. I still wasn't in that right state of mind. I don't think like I was in control of what I could make or what I could do at that point in time. Like most people say, like, why just call 911? I was like, unless you're in that situation, you don't know. It's easy to take money from a quarterback. I agree with that. Like, what you said, it's my shoes, but you don't know what they're doing. I'm gonna get it done. So what happened next? That would have a bill. What she said. Did she hear something? Is that what she obviously? Okay. What she said? And did that happen with Bella right now? Not. What happened? She walked in and it's done. Did she take her back to her room? But she had enough shoe. Down, it's like, okay. Carried her downstairs. Back drove up. At that point where the girl's still there. Then Shanann in the truck. Then went back to the house. Everybody was fell into the seat. And the truck. Yeah, sorry. So Shanann's first. And then Bella was next. Was Bella alive? What do you guys got with that? Oh, okay. What happened? We'll back up. Okay. I don't know. On the sport. My kid was a baby. I don't say that.
So this part right here, you know, when he's talking about this and he's getting all choked up and he's like, they're my babies, you know, I wish I could just reach back in time and smack him in the back of the head for saying that. Like, he should have thought of that before, you know, he should have remembered that in that moment when he had the opportunity to stop, but he didn't. He kept doing it because he wanted to. He thought he was going to get away with it. And it just makes me really angry here in this part right here. But I'll just go ahead and play it.
I think that's the hardest part for us, Chris, is we see those videos, we see that love being
That's the hardest part of this entire case for anyone who knows anything about this case. Those children. And, you know, he's sitting there talking about how he was a good dad. It doesn't matter anymore how good he was because it just took that one moment when he took his family's lives that changed all of that. He'll never be a good dad in anyone's eyes ever again because of that. And, you know, he's never going to be able to really forgive himself if he does, in fact, actually feel guilt. You know, that's going to be with him, you know, when he finally is dying of old age in jail. You know, he's having chest pains. He's about to die of a heart attack. He's going to be thinking about them. And he's not going to have a good afterlife, I don't think.
for your girls, like it's obvious to us, and even to us, it's hard for us to understand how a dad who's giving piggyback rides and, you know, making snacks and watching princess movies and those kinds of things. How do you get to that point, you know?
Like I said, it was just like something else was controlling it. I could fight that.
Yeah.
He had every bit of control. He chose to ignore it, though.
Like when that prosecutor said when you're talking, like repeatedly, I just wanted to just bang my head against the wall.
So you put Shanann in the truck and then you put the two girls in the truck? Were they just sitting in their car seats or I guess they didn't probably have car seats in your truck?
Sitting in the back with the fucking that bench.
See, I think it might have been better if they didn't have to ride to their death site in the truck with their mother wrapped in a sheet. This part really, like, I believe it's real just because it doesn't, you know, it would be easier to stomach this, I think, if he didn't do it this way. If he'd have killed everybody at the house, but I don't know. I can't imagine what the kids are thinking. I mean, I can, but I don't know what they were actually thinking. Riding in the car with their mother wrapped in a sheet like that, it's just awful. It's like they don't understand what torture is, but they're being tortured in that moment for 45 minutes while they're driving to his work site to be killed. It's horrific.
So Shanann was back then too? What did they say about Shanann being before?
Not okay.
What did you tell them?
Should be fine.
Did you have their stuff with them? Like their toys and their blankets and stuff?
They had something with them that they carried. One of them had like a C-scan about that, like a blanket or something. But, like a big blanket or.
What about the dog? I think one of them had a dog, right? Talked or
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah, one of them had like a little barking dog.
Was that with you too? Do you know?
I think it was. Try to not to like,
Yeah.
like big blanket, small blanket.
So I think I saw on the video that you put a gas can or something in the back of your truck. Is that right? Did you have different plans? When you put that in there?
I don't know what was in my head, but like I remember just get rid of myself at the same time while doing all this. Honestly,
Yeah.
just do that.
What would you think about that?
And talk about what happened.
Was there any thought to the whole family going away? I think it would be.
After everything happened, that was the thought.
See, it's interesting to me. We had all kind of wondered if there was a point when we were all together, if we were all going to act together. That to me makes sense, because that's, even though it sounds crazy, that's what a family does, right?
Feeling like that was pretty good.
No, I know. I guess what I mean is, it seems like you guys were going to be together forever in that way. Is that what you were going through your head?
Honestly, I just felt like I didn't really, it's like whatever judgment I was going to, on myself. I just didn't deserve something. Wow.
So what made you not do that? Do you think?
I don't know if it was just more of like because with the site, maybe it was just more like I would hurt more people than just me and everybody else. I know there's other people out there. not like at the site, but other people like maybe out in the area, like had to do something like in the site to catch fire and blow up. And then
You know, part of me doesn't want to believe that the girls had to ride in the truck for that much time, because I'm pretty sure Survey, what that site was, 45 minutes away, maybe an hour away. That seems like a lot of time to cool off. You know, if this was a heat of the moment, you know, kind of snap kind of situation, you know, it just seems like that's a lot of time to hold on to that, you know, that amount of anger, that you're still like ready to kill people, you know, an hour afterwards, and their children. It's awful. Um, but you know, I get what people say and why they think these other things are possible. I just don't know how probable they actually are. I think Chris Watts killed these people with his own hands. And, you know, if Nicole was there, I don't know that she actually was there, like in the process. Um, with situations like this, it's easy to, you know, speculate on things, but you always got to remember the simplest solution is always right, most of the time. But it makes more sense that he was angry, that he was being selfish, and he did all of this stuff, than it does to say he did this with the help of someone else. Um, I'm not saying that she wasn't part of it or she didn't instigate it, or, you know, maybe she knew about it, but thought it was, you know, fake claims, you know, I want to kill my family, but she blew it off and then he actually did. I mean, there's an endless amount of possibilities. Um, the phone ping that everybody talks about can be explained away, that she wasn't actually there. Her phone just pinged to that tower because, you know, the other towers, you know, were full at that second, and it went to the first available tower that she's on a lot. So, um, the neighbor did say they saw her truck on the street, but it wasn't confirmed. You know, it could have been a similar truck. It could have been her actual truck. I don't think, I don't think the, I don't know. I kind of go back and forth on how involved Nicole Kessinger was, but I don't think she physically helped at all. If she did help, the hole would have been deeper, I think. Um, if she did help, it would just, it probably would have gotten covered up a lot faster. Um, they would have had more time, and everything would have been different if somebody else was helping. But this is kind of like he's trying to come up with a plan. Maybe he had this plan all along, and he thought it was good, but he got out there and didn't realize how hard the dirt was, you know. So he only dug a 2-foot hole, and you know that body's going to come out of the one way or another, you know, because it's so close to the surface. Animals are going to smell it. Um, you know, the rain will wash it out of there, all kinds of things. There's a reason why 6 feet is like what they say is the recommended depth to bury someone. You know, you don't want the skeleton coming out of the ground. Um, but I'm going to go ahead and keep playing this. Sorry, I just kind of get angry whenever I hear this part because it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's just horrific that he could, you know, murder somebody and then bring his little kids with him who trust him, and then, you know, be seething that entire trip out there and then murder them too.
other people around with it, they're insane.
So you were thinking initially about starting a fire up there or an explosion or something, or?
No, not for that, just like maybe I take care of myself. Yeah, that's the thing, but I don't have to, that's it, so just blow yourself off. I mean, it was just, I wasn't thinking, yeah. It was, I mean, I don't have weapons. I've never hunted before in my life. I don't know. Nothing was right that one.
Yeah. I remember you kept telling me that. You kept saying, I didn't know what I was doing, Tammy. I didn't know.
Like she, like, you know, like, oh,
Yeah. I think you were just like in automatic mode or seemed like. So did you drive straight out there? So what were you thinking on the way out there?
I was kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm just like, you know, nervous, shaking, not knowing like what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I know like my life is completely changed. I don't know like what's happening. Like honestly, like I'm trying to picture that whole ride. Like, it's like 45 minutes an hour ride out there, and it's just like, couldn't I have like saved my girl life? Couldn't I have done something? Why did I do it? I don't know.
Right.
Like this is my flesh and blood. This is like what I wanted all my life, was to be a dad and just have kids and love me, but, you know, all that and it just nothing made sense.
Right.
Like the whole night, nothing made sense. I'm just like doing.
Mm-hmm. So what happened when you got out there?
Pushing it out. Just to a place off to the site.
Mm-hmm.
Then
What were the girls doing when we were doing that?
just sent in the truck.
No one happened after that.
Sees you first. You did have a blanket. You had a blanket. I think blanket.
So was she alive when she went to the arms? No.
Blanket over it.
And that's how she passed. Good grief.
Put the blanket over it out there. So sprinkle it there. That's
Don't spell it.
there.
She understands. She knows what's going on.
Didn't say anything.
And it's sync for going. Just without a plan.
Blanket.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look. Like every time I close my eyes, I just hear her saying, "Daddy, no, but
That's what goes.
hear that every day."
You up? Sorry, man.
Sorry, taking back.
I know. Is it possible that in your mind you didn't want that December throughout your life? Is this like a mercy?
I mean, you can say that like after the fact, but it was just like I don't.
You didn't feel like that, right?
I just didn't feel like it was just like anger with Shanann and everything that was taking down everybody that was in front of me. You kids going up with other parents, they having on grandparents or whatever they grew up with, taking fun, but it was just like it was an anger thing. It was just like
And what were you so angry at Shanann about? Like if you could pinpoint it.
nothing that makes anybody want to do this. You can be angry at your spouse like your whole life, but you should never do anything like this. You should never let it get to that point. But I let it get to a point where I've never been angry before. Like this, like the epitome of being angry.
Yeah.
The epitome of like showing a rage. The epitome of like losing her mind. Even like some people in here said they like it's sad. Like walk away. It's like
See, I don't think he actually snapped. I think it makes more sense that he snapped, but I think he'd been like planning this in his head. Maybe it wasn't fully articulated. I don't know, but it happens a lot with these family annihilator case where they have this elaborate plan going on in their head, and then the moment comes where they follow through. And I know I always talk about Chris Coleman, who murdered his family also. He did have a plan way in advance, and he started like adding, to the, sending emails to himself, making threatening comments and stuff like that long before he decided to enact his plan. Chris Watts hasn't said anything, as far as I know, that he had anything like that going on. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't in his head. And I mean, it yeah, it's just, I think he'd been planning it for a long time. Maybe it was a offhanded thought the first time, and then he thought about it a few more times, and then he started like dreaming what it would be like afterwards, and then he did it. That's what I think.
I don't see it on my house. I look outside of the day and like, what could we be doing right now? You know? Right. Or my neighbor on both sides. Good boy. Just like right now it's just me.
I watched that video of you finding out that Shanann was pregnant. Don't seem excited. You seem like kind of in shock. Yeah, like, oh, like, it's already complicated, and now this.
Well, it's like when we had talked about like a couple weeks back, Bella and it was like we almost gave up trying. We stopped and I guess we started with my car. And then the CC, it was like, yeah, I tried. And then finally, we got.
So Maribel says in one of his many confessions, he said he knew it was the last time he'd be tucking his babies into bed. And what I think happens when something, some kind of tragedy happens like this, we have to, internalize it and try to explain to ourselves what's happening. And I think some of the reason why his story changes slightly is because he's lying to himself. He's trying to justify things a certain way in his head so that, he doesn't want to off himself, like he may have knew that this would be the last time he was going to be tucking them in, but he may not have known that it was actually going to be the time, because maybe he'd done this many times before. Maybe he'd walked in there and thought that this is going to be the last time, and this is the night I'm going to do it. We don't know that. But I think it probably wasn't the first time that he thought it. I just think this guy is a monster. And I think if he would have got away with it, he would have just become a bigger monster. And, everything that happened, is tragic. But if he'd have got away with it, it would have been even worse. I'm glad he was caught. And writing down there, who was it? Somebody just said something about Chris Coleman. Red Sonja says Chris Coleman is in Wisconsin prison too. I'm not sure where Chris Coleman is. I can look it up though. But that would be interesting if they were in the same prison.
Once or twice, like 2 players, right? Yeah. I just like it was more like surprise here, like what? Like we just talking about this.
like, people have brought up the fact like, oh, she might have been before, like, you got to talk about it. So it's not, but, like, it was the same fact. I give it that. Like, that's the only reason I ever gave that notion. Like, even the moment I thought it was like faster than any other transition you got.
You still seem happy. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I remember the day of March.
So Chris Coleman is in the same prison as Chris Watts. I just confirmed it. I wonder if they've ever had a chance to talk to each other.
So she was wearing like a loose again shirt, I think. And I was walking with a blue or something. I don't remember like watching the video, but like I could see her feel like that. Didn't seem like she was trying to feel like that.
yeah, it didn't seem like that.
Did you watch the one of the when I found out about 60?
Is it totally different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Bella was in the crib and picture notes.
Oh, yeah, I think you told me about it. Yeah, I never saw it though.
Yeah. I figured Bella was fun. This time just mentioned that she was in the kitchen. I don't know, like, how frequent it was, maybe like June 3rd or 5th or 7th, I'm not sure like what date it was the video, but maybe I already felt guilty about talking to the kid at work.
Yeah.
Maybe that would come to my head.
Is that the potential timing? You got to say. Okay.
I don't remember the video, what big the video was, but I knew like I kind of met Nikki on it first. I knew like she told me like afterwards.
When you say you met her, you mean like went on a date with her?
No. They were looking for Shanann, North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
You're just like flirting and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was natural flirting back and forth. I was just like, I knew that with that video time, I thought it was like, felt guilty for talking to her over.
You probably did.
Did you guys fight before you and Shanann? I know you talked about like not really raising your voice and stuff. Was there? Cause I want to say, didn't a neighbor talk about them fighting and stuff?
Yeah, but that was embellished after you retracted that.
Oh, he ended up doing it. Did you guys ever fight? Did you ever? Was there any domestic violence in your house? Like, this is strange to us.
You her even.
Yeah.
She was mad when she's pregnant and grabbed a knife or
No, like
scratches you or smacks you around or nothing.
she's never like nothing. Okay. So it makes all this even more hard to understand. Not good what.
Yeah.
She ever belittle you at all? Did you ever feel that way, maybe? Well, did she ever make you feel like she belittled you, or you felt belittled by her? I mean, there's always points like in a marriage where like the dominant person takes control of everything, but like I was my whole life I just kind of went with the flow. Like I never like put myself in the center of attention. I didn't want to be. Yeah. I just wanted to be in the back row. If she did belittle me, I couldn't figure out. She never really thought that. No, I mean, I always knew I was like, the introvert. She was she took control of most situations. Like when people came over, like, I knew what my role was. Yeah.
Watch videos of like cooking, or she'd make like power balls, or or like cooking ball. You just don't seem like you want to be in those videos. No. Like I feel like you were forced to be in those videos. And correct me if I'm wrong, but
yeah. I mean, I did it for business.
Sure.
But it was, I hated just being out for everybody to see. That's why I like the whole the gender reveal thing. I was just like, I didn't want it to be like some live Facebook video. I'm just like, oh. Yeah. But like, I never wanted to be out there. But I know I'm like,
well, when she was, we talked about this a lot, Tammy and I did, when it was, I think was Florida on some landlord thrive thing. And she's like, here we are, it's all expensive today. And I was like, I'm really gonna be thinking like he was not into this video right now.
No, you don't look into any of the videos, to be honest with you.
Probably either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember you talking about, like, she would even post that for you. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you're type of salesman too,
Yeah.
of Lavelle, of Drive.
Like she put me on her, not like anything like any of my friends and stuff. Or anything I do to help her.
Right.
So it was just, I would send her pictures, like take a picture with your patch. Okay. Send it to her and then she spoke about it. She would eventually she was like, I need to take more control over like your business. So I was like, oh,
Right.
like if I want to talk to somebody at the mall or the pool or somebody about this, I just stumble over my words and just like, okay, bye. But you know,
Yeah.
I'm not so. She could sell everything you're wearing. It's back cheap.
Right.
You don't even know it, like back cheap.
Right.
Hey, Olga, I just noticed that there is a Nightbot comment that says, "You're mistaken. Stop posting links." I don't think I have any things set up to block people from posting links. But yeah, I had to put Nightbot back on here because I always forget to tell you guys, hey, click that little reaction button down there and, share the channel with other people and stuff like that. So, but I turned off all of the settings that have, anything like that. So I don't know why whatever you posted got blocked. Sorry. But guys, so I have to call my kids here in about 10 minutes or so. I'm going to let this thing play. So if you guys want to keep watching it, you can, or we can call it a night if you want. It's kind of up to you guys. But we got about 10 minutes to decide on it.
Those videos, I did this for her. You know, like she always say, oh,
Could you tell her no? Could you say, I don't want to be in that video? Or is that an option?
I mean, it's like, she would be like, well, this is the, help for her family, this is for help this and that. So, I could, they would have made it that. I would have made, I'm sorry that this could be for the business, it's really bad. I was just trying to help out with them again. Did that actually make money? Mm-hmm. So not only just more sales, but it actually put money in the next pocket. Mm-hmm. She made probably in the last year, I decided on commission basically. It's my version of it. Yeah, I mean, it's they all take tax down. Okay. So that was like the good thing. They paid for your car.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Did they give you an allowance or something to buy a car?
yeah, if you're a certain level, like a 12K or so, they give you car allowance once a month. I'm not sure how they make money orders to do that, but they did. Yeah. Unless they're just like in the same market on the product, which I'm not sure how much cost to make it. Yeah.
Did you feel like a different person wearing those patches?
Especially like the Duo, the Burn pack developed. I mean, like the Apple Watches. Like if you look on it, like when it's under exercise, like all day. My heart rate would like just from those patches. Just fuck at me or what? They just have something. They had something. I mean, that the black label ones, the longer black ones.
See, I've always wondered if this Thrive stuff had something to do with it. Not everybody can tolerate the same vitamins. I'm pretty sure Thrive is, just like an energy drink, but it's in a patch form. A lot of the healthy drinks have all kinds of vitamins and whatever. But I mean, it could for a certain person, it doesn't always work the same way. So vitamins can totally change the way you think just as easy as, I don't know, depression meds or anxiety meds or painkillers even. But I've always been curious about this, and of all the conspiracy theories out there, this is the one I don't hear. Um, that the Thrive patch made him do it. Um, but I think it's probably easier to believe than a lot of things that I've heard.
They still said that, but it never. I mean, the duo burn was the ones that were like the fat loss. It was. It felt like it was things. It all was.
Oh, we're tired?
I mean, I know at some points, even Nikki said that, like, I fall asleep on the couch.
Oh,
On her couch while I was talking to her, and then like pick back up like I was like never I fell asleep. But I don't know like insomnia thing, but I was
You had a lot going on then.
So I'm just thinking about this movie I saw a long time. I can't think of the name of it, but there was a medication that somebody took, and they blacked out and murdered somebody. And it just kind of reminds me of this scenario. I mean, it's not the same kind of med, obviously. It's some sort of supplement, but um, I don't know. I'll have to see what movie that is, but it's pretty interesting.
that was the only time that it felt like a little bit different because it felt like political comment.
You don't feel like they changed your personality or anything like that, though? Or do you?
What they come those and the other batch. It was felt like I could just go longer and longer each day. And I'm not sure like if that was probably a bad thing. I don't think I would probably stay more 3 hours.
So would you stay when Shanann was gone? Would you stay with Nikki and then go home for like to get ready?
Yeah, just like 4:30, go home, get ready for work. And I just work out.
what were the conversations with Nikki as far as at some point you guys were talking about her helping you find an apartment? Before you guys talk about as far as your future together?
That didn't really happen. So like back from the beach. So I told her like I lied to her like, hey, like I had talked to Shanann about getting separated. And then I mean it's kind of like not she knew something going on. Like we were sitting in the same room and she even mentioned the fact like, hey, how I was basically stayed or something like that. Okay, I'm just split up. But that actually talk I was just like I thought it was gonna happen.
Yeah. And so in conversations with Nikki, I get it. I mean, you're telling her like the progress for the divorce a little bit more than it was. And then so what were you guys planning?
So it was more like just find a apartment that was affordable. This is kind of surrounding, right? Maybe you're supposed to work like for a lot better or something around there. That's kind of like.
But it sounded like it was working still.
After she met with. Oh,
I was like, she told me like, this is the last time I'll be here for me. I'm going to stay at my vengeance.
Well, yeah, I guess I probably should have just ended it. I got through the part that I really wanted to listen to anyway. But if it's not working, I've been having weird issues today, but it seemed to have worked whenever I shared my screen rather than use, pull the file from my computer, share it that way. But it looks like it's still working to me.
Place not until still making a week there. probably have you guys out. She told you to delete everything? Delete all conversations. Did she let you mind? She said to read it. I don't think we have to do that.
Oh, maybe it wasn't sharing my screen after I left. I don't know. But do you guys still want to watch this, or
We're pretty good.
this thing is like another hour long, I think.
One of the first things you guys talked about, he said, cheated on her. Your dad didn't know until then.
No, they, when I was in North Carolina, I was 6 and I spent most of the day with my parents, sister, and everybody. You know, they I had told them like something like this. It's not work, like, with what happened with the last everything, they're not going to see the kids. They're like, you know, this is the first time they talked to me. And
Most, oh, because you went 3 weeks or something, right?
yeah, because she had told me to call them while I was in. She was like, all right, whatever's going on in your head, she can fix this. But she didn't want me, she didn't want kids to see them. She didn't want to see them. And then, like, when I did see them, I was sick. And saw my grandmother in a nursing home. And she still wouldn't let me.
Yeah, guys. So the live's gone for 3 hours now. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and stop it here. I didn't realize we'd been live for that long, but the little live thing on my screen is highlighted in red. So I don't know if there's like a limit to how long you can be live, but I've never seen it look like that before. So anyways, guys, I'm glad you guys were here. I had a lot of fun, and I'll try to, have a live this week. If not, it'll probably be Sunday again, hopefully around the same time as today. Yeah. So I'll see you guys in the next video.